Luther might have been right about betraying the lion, and we need to talk about it. This is part two of my series on Lionel Johnson, but we need to talk about Luther because Luther was the one who not only raised Lionel Johnson, but he actually found him out in the wild when the lion was actually like in the wild of Caliban, and he was second in command of the Dark Angels once the Emperor actually found Lionel Johnson. So super key character in all this, definitely worth getting into. Now, Luther was a member of the order before Lionel Johnson even was born, found, whatever you want to say. And once he became the second in command of the order, and then later on the Dark Angels, he actually was a really important part of everything. But he started to feel overshadowed by the lion. And even before he knew he was a Primarch, that's super understandable. Like, a Primarch just naturally overtakes everyone else. He's naturally just going to be the best in the room at whatever he's doing, even if it's something as simple as, having a meal and a conversation. They're always going to draw attention. They're also just a massive human being. Like, they're going to be at least twice the size of somebody like Luther, who's just going to be a normal human. And on top of that, he's getting older, to the point where when the Imperium actually came and talked to the Lion and convinced him to have all the Order members join the Dark Angels, Luther was actually too old, and so he became an augmented human, not a space marine, which was really important. Like I said, he did become the second in command of the Dark Angels, and he did go on crusade with Lionel Johnson during the Great Crusade. But one of the important parts is that he, again, started to feel really overshadowed by the Lion. He was starting to get pushed out a little bit because the Lion was just kind of taking advice from Terran Dark Angels, things like that. And there was actually a part where he almost betrayed the Lion. Now, this was when they were talking to the Soros Xenos. They were doing some diplomacy, things like that, and the Lion was away talking to the Soros Xenos, and Zahariel found Luther with a bomb. It was from the Soros. He had found it, and he just wasn't sure if he was actually going to save the Lion or not. Now, Zahariel, being a Calibanite Dark Angel, convinced Luther to actually save the Lion still, all that kind of stuff. But both of them ended up back at Caliban. Now, I'm not going to go too far into what happened at this point through all of Caliban, just because it could be several videos on its own. But eventually, Luther decides to betray the Lion. He feels like Caliban is going to be overshadowed. Caliban is going to be, broken down by the Imperium. And honestly, he had some points. The Lion really wanted to focus on making Caliban a foundry world where it was going to be able to support the Dark Angels on its own. He really cared mostly about making sure the Dark Angels were one of the biggest fleets in the galaxy. And so Caliban was going to suffer because of this. So again, he kind of had a point